You too.
Wise?
Yes.
Wise, yes. Coach Collen yesterday was talking about using this game to kind of get your feet wet after a 10-day break and then ahead of conference play. Do you feel like you did that today? Do you feel this win kind of, you got what you needed?
Yeah, definitely. I think leading into the Kansas game, we really wanted to come out strong, so that gave us confidence to, move forward, get our feet wet, like you said. And I think we did that. Like, our defense was extremely dominant, and it felt really good out there.
Yeah, Bella, I mean, obviously when you score 97 points, there's a lot of offense, but it did seem like it started on the defensive end. You guys, seemed like that's where y'all had the most focus maybe.
Yeah, that's always I would say, the thing we fall back to. They talk about in preparation, it's the level of training that you fall back on whenever certain things aren't going well. And we train our defense. We rep our defense day in and day out, working on closeouts, rotations, communicating, situational stuff. And I think that when we weren't hitting those shots at the beginning of the game, we still needed to move and cut and make those offensive adjustments. But once we got our feet underneath us defensively and we're getting stops, that's whenever we got out in transition and got some easy buckets and things.
Mm-hmm. Bella seemed pretty fiery in that postgame huddle from you guys, from Nicki. What was her message to you guys, I guess, heading into Big 12 conference play?
Just that we came out and we took care of business like we needed to. We missed a couple of free throw box outs, so there's probably going to be a little running at practice. But, I mean, she's right, though. We got to clean stuff up like that because those, at the end of the game, whether we're up or not, those are important, just crucial moments because they give us extra possessions and keep them from getting second chances. But she's just proud of us for coming out today and after that break, kind of shaking the rest off and getting back into it.
Bella, you had struggled some outside three. How good was it just to kind of see some go through?
Really good. I feel like my identity doesn't lie in my three ball, but it's something that I pride myself on. So whenever I'm having games where I'm not shooting super well, I might get a little frustrated, but that's whenever I dig in on defense and make sure I'm doing that job on the end of the court as well. But no, it felt good. The first one when I said, "Oh, thank you, Jesus," I was very glad. And Wise was like, "Yes, keep shooting." Everyone was like, "Just keep shooting." So,
Bella, this team your team isn't ranked. Do you use that as a motivation? And do you care at all? And especially going into Big 12 play where the opponents are going to take up a level. Like, does that factor into your mind at all, whether you're ranked or not?
I don't think that any of us are worried about that. Having a number in front of your name, as awesome as that is, it doesn't determine the type of team that you are, your work ethic, the things that you value, and what you do day in and day out in preparation. And I know that we know that we're a team we're going to have a number in front of our name again, but it's not going to be the end-all, be-all of our season. It's going to be what we do each night on the court. So.
Why is your first time through in the Big 12 conference? What are you hearing about that kind of sorry she scared you. That level and kind of, what are you expecting to see on Saturday?
I'm really excited. I'm expecting a lot of things like fast pace, how we've been playing lately with the teams that we've come up against. I think now I can't have too much fun on the court. I'm going to have to get a bit more serious. But yeah. It's gonna be tough, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see our team put everything together and win some games.
What's your experience been like from the JUCO level? At least just getting this experience now at the Division I. Kind of getting in the swing of things.
I think definitely the pace is, the separation of JUCO and D1 level. Obviously, everything that we get, I mean, there's not much support or money in JUCO at all. So, all the people that put into this type of thing is extremely phenomenal. I have never, ever been in a community or a part of something like this ever. So it's just, it's a big, gratitude thing for me. Grateful to be here. I'm going to give everything I have and, turn up every day.
Anything else?
Thank you, guys.
How's your ears?
They're good. That doesn't bother me.
Did you feel like you got what you needed out of this game?
Yeah, it's funny. Coaches are never satisfied. Like, we missed 2 box outs on free throws in the fourth quarter, and they know that means it's a 17. Like, you just, when you first of all, you fouled them, and we were focused on not fouling. And then you get them then they miss a free throw, and then you give up an offensive rebound. So it's kind of the double whammy to us. So I can always find things that we can do better. But I thought after the first couple minutes, I thought our energy was really good when we started to see the ball go through the basket. I thought we started to move the basketball better. I thought we defended the 3-point line well. We made a mistake here and there, but I think when you guard 5 out, you're going to make some mistakes, but we really didn't get cut up too much. It's a team that makes threes and scores off cuts, and I thought we did a really good job, set the tone defensively, and then obviously in the second quarter the offense got to rolling, and we were just having shooting practice out there.
I don't know if that was the emphasis, but fewest points ever allowed, or that they've ever scored in a game. It just did seem like everything started on the defensive end.
Yeah, well, I think it's, one, it's a lot of what we focus on. We felt like the one thing that you can, when you make a mistake, if there's ball pressure, it can make up for mistakes. If they can't dot you on time and on target, so that was a big focus. I mean, we did not spend a lot of time working on their stuff. We spent a little bit because we knew there was a uniqueness and of what they were going to do, and we haven't faced anything quite like it this season. And so, I thought it was the ball pressure. I thought our communication, in particular with those first 7 kids that played, was really good in terms of when we needed to switch. We covered up for each other. And we played without fouling, until down the stretch. I felt like we did a good job playing without fouling.
Sarah had 8 assists today. Kind of her assist numbers, I know it's early in the season, are kind of up this year. Is she seeing the floor better, or like what do you think's into her kind of assist numbers going up a little bit early on?
I think some of it is she's always seen the floor well. Like, I think, but you don't get an assist if people don't finish. So, having been a point guard myself, there's nothing worse than, someone not finishing a 3-point play when you drop them a dime, and they get the points, but you don't get the assist. So I think it's a combination of she's got players that are finishing. Nettie's obviously an elite finisher. We're making shots. When we make shots and shoot 50%, you got a chance. I think we're doing a good job running the floor. So she's finding people in transition. Bugs is going to get you at least 2 assists a game just running the floor. So it's that combination. The more she plays the point, the more the ball's in her hands, the more assists she's going to get. It's that simple. And so I think we've put the ball in her hands a little bit more. When you look at, her and Jada and how much they play together, but when they're not, then Sarah's the primary ball handler. So I think her assists really elevate when she's in with Yaya and Wise, Yaya and Bella. Then she's got shooters on both sides of her.
And then Kayla Nelms, I know you've mentioned you're deep at that position, but is there something she can do this season to kind of improve her rotation and improve her minutes? Like, what else does she?
It's a unique challenge. There's no doubt. It's a numbers game, and she's at a position with a bunch of seniors, and then Kyla. And I think the uniqueness that she brings is, I know she hasn't shown it, but she is a good 3-point shooter. She made one today. I thought one was going to turn into 2. It didn't. But I think she is a good 3-point shooter, and I think she can bring size and shooting to that position that's a little bit different than Nettie, that's a little different than Kyla. But I think her improvement, as oftentimes it is with freshmen, it's about communication in the defensive end. She's a naturally quiet kid, and you can't play defense quietly, and so I think her challenge isn't as much offensively, it's defensively. And certainly that's an important part of who we are. And so you got to call screens out. You've got to do a good job, whether we're hedging or whether we're in drop coverage, whatever we're in, you have to be elite at it. And so I think it's a bit of a log jam. And I think until, she gives me a reason to consistently play her because she's that much better offensively, I'm going to lean on the bench defensively. I trust Madison. Obviously she's played a lot of minutes in her career. Not as many last year because of injuries, but she's played a lot of minutes of college basketball. So there's a confidence where what you're going to get from her every single time out. And then trying to get Kyla to be a rim protector, a rim runner, do the little things well. And rebound the basketball. And so do I think Kayla Nelms is going to be a really, really good player at Baylor? Yes. Is it going to take her time? Yes.
Back to assists, you had 28 assists on 36 made baskets. You have to like that.
Yeah, it's who we are. I mean, it's who I want to be. It's what, when I think about how we build a team and what's important to me, it's unselfishness. It's moving the basketball. It doesn't mean you don't have playmakers, but playmakers can set up other people. And when you're a team that just plays downhill and tries to take jump shots and those teams, there are teams that are elite at that. But I think it's not our strength, and I don't think it's how we're built. And so, I think about one of the baskets that was not assisted was Jada's pull-up late in the lane, and yet it was perfect execution. The ball had moved side to side. We get a screen late. There's drop coverage. There's no one in front of her. It's a layup for her, And so all of a sudden, to me, that's a screen assist. So to me, that's how the game should be played. The ball should move. It shouldn't get stuck in people's hands. We're not a very good team when the ball gets stuck and we start trying to go one-on-one. We're a good team when the ball moves. The ball has energy. We have player movement. We have ball movement. And then we start making shots and celebrating one another. To me, pretty basketball is when you're celebrating your teammates.
Nicki, another pretty good game from Yaya, averaging, double figures off the bench. What has she done this season to really elevate her game? And do you think she can keep this up, I guess, when Aaliyah comes into the mix?
Yeah, I think she defends. That's the biggest jump. I think she, last year, really struggled at the defensive end. Not because she didn't want to be good. I just think how we play, the expectations. I just think her IQ at that end has elevated. You used to be able to, but that happens with everyone. Everyone knew Bugs freshman year, you just had to back cut her and you were going to get a layup. Everyone would set us up for back cuts, and so there's a wisdom that comes with playing. And learning what other teams are trying to do to you. And I think she's in better shape. I think she's continued to get in better shape. So she plays through mistakes better. She plays through fatigue better, and she's playing through missed shots better, and I said that after the last game that she didn't score, but I thought her minutes were really, really good, and it's hard when your mentality is as a scorer to be happy when you don't make shots and sometimes when you don't take shots. We had to challenge Bella in that first quarter because she wasn't making anything, and then all of a sudden one turned into two, which turned into three, which turned into four, I think in a row for Bella. And so, the game is played at both ends. It's not football. And so you gotta play both ends. And so I think her biggest growth is at the defensive end, but I've said it and I'll continue to say it. I will put Yaya in action when she's hot. I'll put her in action coming out of a timeout when I know she has an advantage. What I'm not doing is shoving her down people's throat. I'm letting the game come to her make an open play, her get stuff in transition, her get stuff off a kick out, and just let the game come to her and not force the game. And I think last year I forced the game on her. I wanted her to get in space. I wanted her to use her strength and her downhill ability to make plays. And the better the defense, the more scouted she was, the tougher that became. Now I can do that, but I'm doing it with a double stagger coming out of a timeout, and she drives to the rim and gets a lay-in. But I'm not doing that the first play she checks into the game, and so it's I'm allowing the game to come to her, and I think that makes her more comfortable. Even though I'm sure she wants me to run a play for her. Don't get me wrong, they all light up. It's amazing how you run a play and it's a play that is seemingly to you, and you can just see it. But ultimately so often it's easier to score as a recipient scorer rather than someone you're playing to.
Nicki, I know she came back in, but Kylo, was there anything? Was that just a collision, or what happened on that play?
Yeah, I think her chin hit Yaya's head. Like, so yeah, it was just a collision.
Obviously she didn't play, but Aaliyah, is there any update on her?
No, we're hoping by end of day. So if you see her in the gym later, it's because we got cleared. If you don't see her in the gym later, it's because she won't be cleared. So the minute she's cleared, she'll be in the gym.
You talked about them a little bit the other day, but Kansas, because I know we're not getting back together for media, can you just talk a little bit about what you see from them and, what do you have to defend against them, I guess?
Yeah, I think, they're a bit of a two-headed monster offensively. Samaya Nichols, Elle Evans, two sophomores, players that they're going to build around. Samaya Nichols leading the league in scoring. Samaya Nichols leading the league in free throws taken, attempted, and made. Gets to the line more than anybody in the country. They're going to play in the middle of the floor with her and put pressure downhill on you. She's going to throw her body into you and try to draw fouls. And she's really good at it. But she does a good job playing under control. She's a one dribble at a time kid. She's not out of control. She stays on balance. That's why she gets to the foul line, because she gets you leaning and then she takes advantage of it. But they're shooting the basketball really well. They Copeland can shoot the three at a high level. But they have multiple players that'll beat you as recipient scorers that don't average double figures. But ultimately, they've been really good defensively, and they're very scout specific. I think we're going to see some things like we did today. Where they're sinking in the paint, Darren Buggs to make jump shots, Darren Jada to make jump shots. So I think we're going to see a little bit of that. We saw more of that 4-5 today than we did off their guards once they went man in the second half. But they've done a really good job of containing. All their games have been low scoring. Wins, losses. Obviously, there's only one loss, but even holding Iowa to low 70s, they're hanging their hat on their length defensively, and then being real scout specific and doing a good job of trying to take away players' strengths, team strengths. And give you one shot by kind of shelling it up. So it's a little bit different than the past. They were a little more aggressive with Franklin in passing lanes and Holly Kerskeeter in passing lanes, and with Mayberry not as whether she's a go, I don't know, but has had some injury issues. She was probably their best on-ball defender, and so they play a lot of small ball. So they've got to kind of utilize smarts to their advantage.
When you went to Lawrence last year, it was kind of a pop the balloon. Well, yeah.
Thanks. Good memories.
No problem. Is that motivation, going back there? Do you want to?
We have had, that was our first loss to Kansas since I've been here. But I will tell you what, I have a ton of respect for Brandon. He's a good play caller. We've played some really close games. We've won more than we've lost, obviously, but they've come down to the fourth quarter usually, and he's a really good play caller. He's gonna try to ball screen and get a little on Samaya and then go to work. He's gonna try to play to the matchups. He's gonna get you in back cuts. He's gonna get you he does a really good job calling plays. And so a year ago we were absolutely rolling against them into this midway through the second quarter. They went zone. We got 3 or 4 good shots in a row and missed, and then just didn't do a good job to finish out that half. They got back in the game, and then, man, that third quarter, we were a train wreck. No, I haven't watched it. It's very imprinted in my memory yet, but believe me, I will. But yeah, I think from that point, they played man, they played zone. They just did a really good job of shelling up against us and not giving us easy baskets. So, for anyone that played in that game last year up there should be some motivation for sure. But I think in general, it's about what are our goals. This is the first step in that goal. It's their first step in that goal. I don't think their goals are different than our goals. I think it's a battle of 2 really good teams.
What was your message to the team in that post game huddle? I mean, obviously, maybe other than the
free throws.
the free throws, because Bella mentioned that when I asked her the question. But was it just looking ahead to what Big 12 conference is going to be?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously short. I mean, I wanted them to get to media. I wanted them to get to the kids. I wanted, but it was, hey, I thought we did a lot of things well. But what we're never going to be is a team that doesn't play as hard in the last minute of a game as we do in the first minute of a game. And, we have an expectation on free throws that we are not going to miss box outs on free throws, period. And so, we're going to basically do 17s for those. But ultimately, it's about moving forward and getting ready to go beat Kansas. And so that was the message. It was good to see a lot of people put the ball in the basket. I thought Wise's minutes were fantastic. I thought her energy in the passing lane, she made shots. But it's one of those things too where making shots is just as contagious as missing shots. And so you think about, like, Wise had a 3 that we got a 3-second call. We had an inbounds play that I can't remember why they stopped it, but we ran it totally wrong. And so I was able to adjust them on the fly and tell them where to set up and where to go, and we still hit the shot. And I was basically telling the defense where we were going to because we didn't know. And so I think when there's contagious energy, basketball's fun, and so I think that's what they did today. I thought they played with a lot of joy. Which was awesome, because when you play an early game and you play in front of these kids, you should be joyful. Thank you.